Greetings everyone. Today I will be explaining the workings of a car brake by relating it to Pascal's principle. So, what does the principle say? It states that the pressure applied on an enclosed fluid is transmitted uniformly in all directions in the fluid. In simpler terms, the input pressure is equal to the output pressure. Now, what is a hydraulic system? It is a system that uses a liquid to transmit pressure. The liquid in question is usually hydraulic fluid, or in the case of car brakes, brake fluid. Before we move on to the brakes, let us first understand how the force is multiplied in a system involving this principle. Because the principle states that input pressure and output pressure are the same, the respective formulas also relate to each other. From there, we can rearrange it so we will get a formula that explains how force is increased. Let's try it out ourselves. Refer to the chart. It is shown that the input force F1 is acting downwards, and the output force F2 is acting upwards. By using the force multiplier formula we have just derived earlier, we can find out how much output force is being produced to lift the 1 kilogram block. The area should follow the area of the cylinder piston. Look at the GIF again. Hence, the reason why I used pi times radius squared. And for the sake of simplicity, let's just use meters instead of millimeters, and also the gravitational acceleration, g being 10 ms-2. After calculating, we can see that the output force produced is greater than the weight of the block, therefore pushing it upwards. Now we get to the car brakes. From this moving diagram here, we can see how it actually works, and how it applies the principle. The input force, which is from the brake pedal's lever, is transferred into the brake fluid, and is then transmitted to the brakes of the car, where the force is multiplied, and brings the car to a stop. Right, how about you give it a go? Diagram on the left shows a braking system used in cars. The area of the small piston and large piston are 20 mm and 50 mm respectively. Given that the force applied on the brake pedal is 100 N, calculate 1. The force applied onto the large piston, 2. The force multiplier, and 3. By using your answer, in 2, find out the input force applied when the output force is 500 N. You may pause the video if you have to. Done? Let's check your answers. For number 1, it is pretty straightforward. Since pressure on the input piston is equal to the pressure on the output piston, we can relate the formulas of both and find the output force. Like so. Number 2, to answer this we just need to take the output force and divide it with the input force. Number 3, similar to 2 except we now have the force multiplier, and all we have to do is just divide it with the output force. That's all from me. This principle is fairly a simple one, and it has lots of applications to it. With that said, thank you.